Citizens across Europe have lost faith in the U.S. during the coronavirus pandemic, a poll has found, as the Trump administration grapples with a spike in the number of new cases.
The European Council on Foreign Relations on Friday released findings from a poll that found citizens of Denmark, Portugal, Poland, France, Germany, and Spain said their views of the U.S. had worsened during the pandemic. The poll, commissioned by the organization and conducted by YouGov, surveyed 11,000 people across 9 European countries and discussed attitudes linked to the coronavirus. The polling was conducted over several days in April and in early May, depending on the country.
A report discussing the findings said the COVID-19 crisis had made Europeans consider themselves alone in the world, despite shared values with other nations in the West.
Only a vanishingly small number of respondents to this year's survey feel that the U.S. has been the key ally for their country in the crisis, the report said. In Denmark, Portugal, France, Germany, and Spain, more than two-thirds of respondents said that their view of the U.S. has worsened during the crisis.
Europeans' trust in Trump's America is gone, the report added. Many of them have been appalled by the country's chaotic response to COVID-19, the lack of solidarity it showed with Europeans in the March 12 closure of its border to members of the Schengen area, and its lack of leadership in tackling the coronavirus crisis at the global level, or even engagement with the issue, beyond a war of words with the World Health Organization.
These findings contrast with a pan-European poll conducted by the ECFR last year that found Europeans preferred the idea of an EU that was strong enough not to be forced to choose sides in a conflict but, ultimately, would usually side with the United States over any other ally.
The shift in perception of U.S. reliability was pronounced in France and Germany, with 46% of French respondents and 42% of German respondents saying their view of the U.S. worsened a lot because of the coronavirus.
Respondents also didn't share a positive view of the EU's coronavirus response. None of the countries surveyed reported a majority positive change in performance by EU institutions during the pandemic. China also left an overwhelmingly negative impression on Europeans during the pandemic, the report said.
The U.S. is dealing with a surge in its number of coronavirus cases and overall has reported over 2.6 million coronavirus infections and more than 127,000 deaths, the most of any country.
The head of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention acknowledged recently that the true coronavirus count was probably many times higher than the official count.
Our best estimate right now is that for every case that's reported, there actually are 10 other infections, CDC Director Robert Redfield told reporters on Thursday.
The European Union on Tuesday conspicuously left the U.S. off a list of countries deemed safe to resume travel into EU nations beginning Saturday. The bloc named 15 countries including Australia, Canada, Japan, and, pending a reciprocity agreement, China.